Hello. Here we are. Okay. We chose to call Rod's celebration of life agape, a celebration of love. Agape means a love that is universal. It means a love that moves and leans toward all of us and includes nature. This love, when given, expects no return. Agape love is unconditional and selfless. And it's always filled with surprise and wonder. So, is it any surprise or wonder that we would call this celebration of Rod's life anything other than agape? Yeah. All right. So, while love is universal, meaning toward all of creation, if you have a moment of doubt about your individual importance to Rod, please let it go. What I know, what I can assure you, is that his love for you was unique for you, unique to you. You were a cherished beloved of Rod's. And your love to him, your unique love toward him, extended to Rod to enliven his spirit, to keep up the good works of which he was deeply committed. Trust me on this. Now, no one is trying to sidestep the grief that we're all experiencing. Okay? It's been mentioned to me a couple of times that folks are afraid of losing their composure. Please, lose your composure. Okay? We've got enough Kleenex, maybe enough Kleenex, and we will glad. Do you need some Kleenex? We have plenty? Okay. So let us suffer together in this love, this agape. And remember, there will be comfort food in just a little while. Okay? So at this point, I want to talk about another aspect of love. Alongside agape, there are several other aspects of love. Eros, passionate, romantic, sensual, and pragma, long-lasting, enduring, committed love. So Howard, Rod's living experience of Eros and pragma, will offer us his words, and let us hold Howard in our embrace of agape.
Good afternoon. To those of you here and those watching on Zoom, okay. To those of you here and those watching on Zoom, I want to thank you for attending this celebration of Rod's life. I am especially grateful to the Immaculate Heart community, the Corita Art Center, and Housing Works for organizing this afternoon's event. And special thanks to Michael Tompkins. I don't think I can overstate how important these three organizations were to Rod, especially during the past 2 decades. These were some of the happiest years in his life, along with the 43 years that he and I were together. He worked with many of you here today, and after every Zoom meeting with a board a commission, or some committee, Rod would inevitably tell me how fortunate he felt to work with such wonderful and gifted people. I know you valued his efforts and presence enormously, but his close connection with you allowed Rod to pursue and fulfill the goals and ideals that gave his life purpose. And his endeavors were multiple: caring for the unhoused and the marginalized, pursuing justice for women, combating racism, conserving the environment, and developing the Corita Art Center, to name just a few. Rod had great respect and affection for you and for all the ways you strive to make this a better world. I share those feelings. Thank you.
And now in your programs, you will see the words to our gathering song, Here Comes the Sun. Russell and Alice.
Never missed a beat.
Do we need to get some?
Ready? Yeah, absolutely.
Here comes the sun, do-do-do-do. Here comes the sun, I say, it's all right. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun.
Many
I
of them
say it's
came
all
from
right.
people from the right. That's why they're not alive.
Little darling, the smiles returning to their faces. Little darling,
need
it
to go to
seems
Shady
like
Brothers, or-
years since it's been here. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's all right. Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's all right. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. It's all right. Here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. I say it's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right.
When considering varieties of love, philia suggests deep friendship, camaraderie, loyalty, passion. The relationship between Rod and Lucia describes this aspect of love. Lucia will lead us in our opening prayer, one crafted by Lucia and Rod, prayed together by telephone every morning. And you can see it. Please do have it open in your programs.
Good afternoon. It is such a joy to be here and on Zoom with all of you. This is a very significant moment for all of us. In 1947, I joined the Immaculate Heart community along with Jules Tesser, Rod's cousin. And sometime later, I met Rod, a very vibrant teenager, filled with love and laughter, creativity, imagination, and even then, a tremendous sense of wonder. That's where our journey started, and that's where we're on, all of us on the same Camino with Rod, only he's gotten there earlier before us. About 3.5 years ago, Rod was visiting me in my home, and he was very excited about scripture that he had been reading and trying to make real sense of it. And as we worked through it, we were both kind of in awe. And yes, before I knew it, the next time he came, he had this beautiful card with a little red heart with the inscription. It's very short, succinct, and to the point. Without a doubt, for me, it is the greatest affirmation. Every morning when he called, the first thing we would do is recite the affirmation. It was like our opening hello. And I feel at this moment, we're all bowing to that magnificent hello. I will recite it once, and then I ask you to recite it twice with me. O love, open our hearts that our lives proclaim our goodness. O love,
O love,
open our
our hearts
that our
our
lives
lives
proclaim
proclaim
our goodness.
goodness.
O
O
love,
love,
open
open
our
our
hearts
hearts
that our
that our
lives
lives
proclaim our
proclaim
goodness.
our goodness.
Part of the goodness that I feel within our community, particularly thanks to Rod, is how we have concentrated, especially during our assembly that took place 2 days after his death. And that was the Magnificat. And so I pray that all of us can witness, as Rod did so magnificently, that beautiful prayer of magnifying God in all of creation, in all of creation, in all of love's creation.
Thank you, Lucia. I would like to call forward a cherished beloved of Rod's and certainly a cherished beloved of our Immaculate Heart community, our president, Sherry Purcell.
Good afternoon. When I was asked to speak about Rod's legacy, my mind went right to one of my favorite passages in our foundational document called The Spirit That Calls Us. And that passage says, the community is a living human tapestry. And it speaks of the way members and new members weave their personal threads into this tapestry, creating a sense of meaning, connection, and accountability within our community. And I started to think about Rod's thread and what had Rod woven into our community tapestry. And I realized it had a number of different elements to it. Rod's thread in our community tapestry was vibrant, colorful, and creative. We depended on him for beautiful, always tasteful drapings and stagings for our gathering. He was prolific in his creative use of his computer to produce prayer and ritual booklets, and in recent years, a beloved weekly offering he called Contemplative Reflections. He was even creative in his list making. Meeting documents and lists were always meticulous in detail, but most often they were color-coded in primary colors of red, blue, and yellow. Rod's thread in our community connected us. He bound us tight with his big heart and deep compassion. He worked for many years with incoming members to help them learn about our community and what we were and what we could offer to their lives. And his pastoral skill called him to support our ongoing members, often in ministry to their needs and challenges. Rod's thread in our community was a strong thread representing dignity and faith. We witnessed his integrity as we learned about his story with the Roman Catholic Archdiocese here in Los Angeles. And as we became acquainted with his dear husband, Howard, we were witnesses to their deep, loving relationship. That thread represented a compelling model for all love in all of its manifestations. And we felt his commitment to his faith as we created beautiful liturgies for us, and he rose above the discrimination of organized religion and became a priest again, this time as a Roman Catholic woman's priest. Rod extended his community thread beyond the community into service in the world. Rod was a strong advocate for human rights and compassion for those who are unhoused. Housing Works is a nonprofit organization founded by Immaculate Heart community members in 2003 to serve the needs of some of the most vulnerable among us who are homeless. Rod represented the Immaculate Heart community on the Housing Works Board, where he served as a secretary. And Housing Works also benefited from his creativity in his creation of the environments for their fundraising every year. When the Immaculate Heart community launched the Corita Art Center into its own nonprofit status a few years ago, Rod was the first one in line to serve on the board to represent the Immaculate Heart community. His love of Corita and the relevancy of her message for this day and age found a home in his participation on that board. He loved being a part of that board and birthing a new era for Corita's work. And I'd like to just mention that the executive director of the Corita Art Center, Nellie Scott, is here, and Selena Alvarez from Housing Works is here too, and many board members from both of those organizations. Finally, Rod's thread stretched all the way to Orange and the Catholic Worker, where he was a faithful volunteer for years. And that is where he was when his big heart failed. He was helping there prepare for Christmas, quite a fitting thing for him to be doing as his last act of service to others. Rod Stevens was a creative weaver of souls in our community and beyond, who did his weaving quietly and with beauty and with dignity. I want to share with you a reading from Howard Thurman that also has this theme of threads. It's called The Threads in My Hand. Only one end of the threads I hold in my hand. The threads go many ways, linking my life with other lives. One thread comes from a life that is sick, it is taught with anguish, and always there is the lurking fear that the life will snap. I hold it tenderly, I must not let it go. One thread comes from a high-flying kite. It quivers with the mighty current of fierce and holy dreaming, invading the common day with far-off places and visions bright. One thread comes from the failing hand of an old friend. Hardly aware am I of the moment that the tight line slackened and there was nothing at all, nothing. One thread is but a tangled mass that won't come right, mistakes, false starts, lost battles, angry words, a tangled mess. I've tried so hard, but it won't come right. One thread is a strange thread. It is my steadying thread. When I am lost, I pull it hard and find my way. When I'm saddened, I tighten my grip and gladness glides along its quivering path. When the waste places of my spirit appear in arid and confusion, the thread becomes a channel of newness of life. One thread is a strange thread. It's my steadying thread. God's hand holds the other end. On December 2nd, 2025, the thread that we all had in our hand slackened suddenly when our dear Rod was called home to God. At first, we did not understand what had happened because we still could feel that thread in our hands. Today, we witness his legacy in everything he did to love us and connect us with each other. We witness it in everything of beauty he left behind. As we've moved through the days since the passing, may we seek the strange thread each of us holds in our hands. May it be a steadying thread for each of us. May it comfort and guide us forward, knowing our lives are better for having loved and been loved by Rod Stevens. Rod's that thread will forever bind of each of us to him. Rod's thread in our community's tapestry will forever be vibrant and glorious, and let it remind us to live a life of service, of love, of compassion, and beauty. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Well, in a way, our eulogies have begun. Eulogies are remembrances of our beloveds. We might consider this aspect of love called storge, meaning lighthearted, playful, flirtatious, and we must include philia, deep friendship of lasting connection. So perhaps consider these aspects of love as we listen to Peter Nardi share with us.
Thank you. I'm a retired college professor. I'm used to talking to large groups, but these things can be more emotional than sociology. In Roman numerals, the letter in Roman numerals, the letter L represents 50. It is also the first letter of love. 50 years ago, about this time of the year, before I met Rod, I first met Howard, when a colleague of mine asked me to join them who knew Howard to attend a play at the Schubert Theater in Century City. And to paraphrase Rick's line to Louis in Casablanca, I knew this was going to be the beginning of a beautiful friendship. In those early years, we spent many wonderful times sharing the stories of our lives and loving relationships. One day, 7 years later, in 1983, Howard called me. He told me, I have a date with a Catholic priest. Any tips?
Any tips?
Well, despite serving as an altar boy and having 16 years of Catholic education, I had to admit the Baltimore Catechism did not offer any ideas or dating tips. Howard tells me that I was the first of his friends to meet Rod. It was clear to me that for Howard, the letter L also represented the beginning of a beautiful, loving relationship with Rod. Although Rod was not a member of the Jesuits, as I got to know him, these words from their spiritual leader rang true to me. To be just, it is not enough to refrain from injustice. One must go further and refuse to play its game, substituting love for self-interest as the driving force of society. And Rod truly lived the Jesuit belief of men and women for others. Within a year after we first met, I got to know Rod better when he came to London when I was on sabbatical there in 1984. He said he wanted to visit Castle Carnarvon in Wales, where Queen Elizabeth invested Charles as the Prince of Wales. Rod and Charles were both born in November 1948, so he felt some sort of connection. Rod asked me to join him on his journey my last week in England, and we planned a 4-day trip around the country to see other places neither of us had been, like Westminster Cathedral, Lyme Regis, Torquay, Plymouth, Penzance. Rod, ever the stylist, rented a Jaguar sports car. Before GPS, we used these old-fashioned things called paper maps. And each day he would say, which way? And as a co-pilot, I gave him directions as I waved my hands in all directions, pointing out our way to these scenic small towns in the south and the west of England, before arriving in Wales to see the castle where the prince was crowned. For the last stop on our tour, heading back down to London by way of York, we made a special pilgrimage to another well-known castle, thanks to the successful TV show Brideshead Revisited. It was named Castle Howard, of course. As we traveled around, we would quite often see a St. Peter's church in these towns and villages. I asked, how come we never see a St. Rod's church? What kind of saint's name is Rod? This became a lifelong running joke, and I would often send him a photo of my namesake St. Peter, regardless if it was a church or a cafe, from wherever my husband Jeff and I traveled. Maybe a St. Rod church isn't likely to appear, yet Rod certainly lived his life with the care, grace, love, radiance, and belief in social justice that rivals many saints. Which way also became a sort of joking refrain when we got together throughout the years with our friends. Rod would giggle when he asked, where were you going? All the while, he usually was leading the way, steps ahead of the rest of us, on some excursion to a museum or a restaurant, with what we called the board meeting, our group of dear friends, Elliot and Joe, Howard, Jeff, and me. During one of these gatherings, Jeff mentioned he was a big fan of Sister Wendy's Story of Painting. So, of course, Rod got Jeff an autographed copy of the show's CD and a photo of Wendy with Rod when he next went to England. That's Rod for you.
Yeah.
A man for others, L for his love of friends and his social commitment to those in need. By coincidence, just last week, I was reading this novel, and this wonderful sentence reminded me of Rod. Care is demonstrating a regard for the dignity of others. What better way of saying how Rod loved Howard and his friends and how he lived his life? These are the moments I take with me of a generous soul who embodied grace and dignity, and the strength I gain from recalling how he lived these values of compassion, social justice, and care for others. Since I began with Howard, being that Howard's career focused on 19th century British literature, I want to end with one of my favorite quotations from Wordsworth, which to me is how I accept the absence in my life of friends and family, a loving shift from the usual grief to one of gratitude. Quote, what though the radiance which was once so bright be now forever taken from my sight, though nothing can bring back the hour of splendor in the grass, of glory in the flower, we will grieve not, rather find strength in what remains behind. Love you, Howard. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. And now we'll listen to a cherished beloved of Rod and Howard's. Please, Jay.
Okay, so let this be a rule, never follow a college professor. I don't know if my remarks are gonna, anyway, well, afternoon to all and to all who are joining us on Zoom. just have to look around the room and the souls and the bodies and the energy that Rod touched, and so important. Rod came into my sphere of his influence. Did you get the difference? My sphere, his influence. Quite the case. We served together on the AIDS Walk board of Orange County for a number of years. He ministered to any number of those who were transitioning or challenged and had no family or friends. He was always there. You know, Rod created rainbows, sometimes unicorns, and very few speed bumps along the way, journeying with him. He was a friend to me, a confidant, and he was one of those people who, if you made a suggestion and he gave you that look, you'd go, probably not, we'll do that later. That was Rod. He had such a wonderful way of ushering and moving and supporting all of us. For me, Rod was the person who was always there to lend a hand, to hold you during your own personal drama and trauma. He was in the midst, and he would always have a positive solution. I don't know how he did it, but he always go, oh, yeah, we could do it this way. He was always available. I remember one time when Rod was being so Rod. I was fretting about moving to a new position in San Francisco. I had to get up there, get myself established. You know, it's all of that, you know, household goods up there. And Rod turned to me and said, oh, no worry, we'll help you. Who was the other part of the we? My special friend, Howard. So we gathered up all my stuff, loaded it into a U-Haul. Oh my God, you know, paraphernalia, bedding, blah, 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 you know, pots and pans and all that. We took our journey to San Francisco. We get to the place, the apartment in San Francisco, and much is happening. We're unloading stuff, and there's chaos going on, and there's, you know, the dog, oh, I forgot, there were 2 dogs that came with us as well. They were running around, not sure of their spot in this whole new place. And so I was just perplexed. I didn't know what to do. So what I did is I went out for some food for the 3 of us. Oh my God, it was the best thing ever. When I got back, the kitchen was all put away. The spices were advertised, or alphabetized, not advertised, but alphabetized. The bed was made, and you certainly know that all of those pictures were hung just in the right place. How many times have Rod done that for all of us? The decorations were perfect. And by the way, they stood in that house for 5 years. I didn't move one of them. Where did I go with all this? Oh, well, I was astounded. Rod could make things happen with amazing grace and ease. And mostly, gobs of grace. He would do things for us that just was perfect, number one, and number two, it would met the needs of the person he was with. His talents of design just came out of every pore of his. Every pore. Another story I just happen to remember, sorry, I'm diverting a little bit. We went to up north to Sea Ranch, and really beautiful countryside and so forth. And we were collecting things. We were having salmon dinners and everything. And I look in the back of my old Subaru, and here are all of these long poles and sticks and things. And I'm going like, Rod said, never mind, just do that, just do it. We got to my apartment. He put the sticks and the poles and everything. It was beautiful. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. So Rod, he saw beauty in not only all of us in this room, the people he came in contact with, but in the nature that has surrounded him. I want to close with another small story of now, you know, Rod was so heavily involved in needlepoint. And I didn't know much about needlepoint. My mother made a needlepoint pillow when she was pregnant with me, and I cherished that. But he was showing his needlepointing. And I was going on, these designs were so intricate and so vibrant and alive. And I said, Rod, how do you do this? He said, oh, here, I'll show you. So he took out a piece of yarn. He separated the threads of that yarn, reweaved that yarn together, and put it into that picture that he was making, that needlepoint that he was making. And when I was thinking about coming here, and all of us in this room, that's what he did with us. He found our little strands all around. I forgot where, anyway. He found all those strands and wove that into a new piece of yarn that put us all together in this tapestry that we have here. Each one of us brings our own color thread, our own boldness, our own strength, maybe even our tenderness, our timidness. Rod reworked all those strands and brought us here today. What a man. We'll miss his craftiness, but not the craft that he demonstrated to all of us. He was such a unique and special person and my friend. One more thing. I know I've got lots of ones, so hang on. Every time that I left Rod and Howard and we'd be out for a meal, or we'd be having an adventure together at a museum or a symphony or something, Rod always said to me, his number one job was to take good care of Howard. Well, now that's been passed on to us. And we need to be there to take good care of Howard. I, for one, am willing to do that and will step up whenever I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
This feels really high.
Rod and Howard and many of us, Matt Knowlton.
Oh, that's okay. Thanks, yeah. So I'm a retired 7th grade teacher. So I'm going to imagine that you're all 7th graders. Sorry. But it will help me get through it, that's for sure. I met Rod in February of 1982 at the Religious Ed Congress in Anaheim. We were introduced to each other by our friend in common, Joyce Cottage. That was 44 years ago. His energy was impressive. This young Roman Catholic priest, 8 years ordained, was dynamic, enthusiastic, and hopeful, the embodiment of the spirit of Vatican II. As a consequence of our meeting, my life really was never the same. There was life before Rod and life after Rod. Rod was a unique and singular man who marched to his own drum. He lived life on his own terms, and he encouraged others to do the same. He was courageous and visionary. Still, when I think of who Rod is in my life, one word comes to mind, simply a friend. But in the fullest sense of the word, he was a companion, a confidant. He was both comforting and challenging, a spiritual guide, a fellow pilgrim, and a brother. As a friend, Rod was honest and loyal, dependable and consistent. He offered guidance and counsel at pivotal moments of my life. Rod was a gift and card-giving friend. He was thoughtful and generous. He was known for gifting little objects of art and artifacts that held meaning and significance. A bowl, a polished stone, a piece of art, an arrowhead, a glass paperweight, a needlepoint. Even when I was on a trek through the hills of Cumbria, England, I was guided to a popsicle stick, right here, that he and Howard had months before tucked into the rocks of Hadrian's Wall. He guided me right to it. He loved to orchestrate joy and wonder. Rod led an active life. He was not a dreamer, he was not only a dreamer, but a doer as well. He was a priest and a designer, a leader and a participant. He found fulfillment through active engagement in various ministries and nonprofit organizations. Like all of us, he had developed a public persona. There was the high energy Rod we all knew and experienced in a variety of settings and relationships. But there was also a private Rod. Over the years, I often asked him, how do you do it? How do you sustain your vitality? How do you preserve your peace? Where do you find the energy to tackle all these endless tasks and projects? Well, without hesitation, his immediate response was always, Howard. Of course, his intimate, loving relationship of 43 years, Howard was Rod's shelter, his refuge. He more than once told me, if you are looking for happiness and contentment, find yourself a Howard. And I'm still looking. But I had a feeling there was something else in addition to Howard that kept him grounded and centered. Rod must have had a hidden world that he protected, a guarded wellspring of life and energy. I have placed some white papers at the end here. Do you mind grabbing them and just passing them down to people? They're under the chairs. Got it. Here, you can just pass those down to the people in your row. Thanks. You can just pass them along. Thank you very much. Thanks. On December 10th, 1 week after he passed, while going through some unread emails, I came across one that Rod had sent on November 28th. Perhaps like some of you here today, I had been a recipient of his weekly contemplative reflection for a number of years. Each one was thoughtfully created by Rod, brief, focused, and inspired. I opened the attached document. It's the one that you have in your hands right now. It is brief, uncluttered, and very compact, so very Rod. This reflection for the week of November 28th through December 6th would be his last. In a way, this was Rod's final word. Honestly, I can't help but think he had an unconscious awareness of its significance. As you can see, the reflection begins with this quote, Do not fear the silence after speech. It is the place where language bows. Well, when I read that, it dawned on me that here was the answer to my questions, a glimpse into his hidden world. Rod's life was fueled by a deep and abiding love of silence, for stillness, for the pause, for the blank page. Contemplative silence for him was restorative. He treasured it. Actually, it was his shield. And he experienced it mostly at home with Howard. I cannot count the number of times I received an early morning text from him with a photo of a passing cloud. A tree. Or a sunrise, or something else that had caught his eye in the early morning hours while sitting in the side yard patio. No text, no words, just a visual and silence. On the center page of this same guide, Rod included the following quote: "You can choose to live your life in the trenches, going nowhere, and good luck with that. Culture warriors are static, and their certainties are terrifying. The Harvard psychologist Dan Gilbert once observed that human beings are works in progress who think they are finished. But people who see themselves as pilgrims know they are unfinished. They know they are still on a journey that will change them. They embrace the dynamic, forward-flowing nature of life. If they are clawing at anything, it's not one another, but the brambles that block their common path." When I read that passage now, I wonder what about this particular quote prompted him to include it in his reflection. Was it the fact that the way one lives a life is a choice, or that we are unfinished works in progress? I know Rod saw himself as a pilgrim, part of a dynamic, forward-moving flow. Perhaps it was the image of a common path shared by other pilgrims on a journey through this life and beyond. I think the passage as a whole conveys Rod's life view. Obviously, it spoke to him. It wasn't just a random choice. Finally, Rod's contemplation guide concludes on the back page with the following poem: "Being born, death and dying, life and living, being human, the messiness and pain of birthing, being born. Brief, precise, and poignant, and as it turned out, quite prescient. Reading it now, this poem takes on an added layer of significance. This distilled story of a life in its purest form must have spoken to Rod. It is potent and concise. Rod, the gift giver, has left us with this final message, one of life, death, and silence. The storyteller Isaac Dennison wrote about the power of silence in her short story, The Blank Page. To paraphrase what she wrote, I will say, where the storyteller is truthful and honest, loyal to his or her story, in the end, silence will speak. The silence at the end of a well-told story allows for a deeper, powerful, unspoken truth to emerge. And where the story has been betrayed, compromised, or inauthentic, silence is nothing but emptiness. Rod has begun a new revelatory journey. He has moved on from us. His story here has ended. The pilgrim is on his way. We no longer see his face, feel his touch, or hear his voice. We, all of us here, are keenly aware of his absence, and now begins for us the silence. But if he was true to his story, and we know he was, a life lived with integrity, authenticity, and loyalty, the silence we are experiencing is not an emptiness or a lacking. We are not facing a painful abyss. Instead, we can quietly look for a passing cloud, meditate on the beauty of a tree, appreciate a flower or a crashing wave, marvel at a sunrise, palm a rock, or handle a piece of driftwood, ponder a poem or a passage of scripture, contemplate an architectural feature, a work of art or a piece of music, attempt a needlepoint, or even try our hands at carbonara. Finding Rod in moments of grace such as these gives him a space to connect with us, intimate and comforting, and oh so Rod. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Howard and I were walking through their home, and we were looking at all the Carita serigraphs and the art and the needlepoint and so many things. And Howard and I both came upon this Carita that's in you can see the picture of it in your program. And I would like to invite Rick, please, to read that for us.
It can be said of him, as of so few men in the same position, that he did not fear the weather, and he did not trim his sails, but instead he challenged the wind itself to improve its direction and cause it to blow more softly and more kindly over the world and its people. I have a fraction of the years with Rod that some of you have expressed. And with great confidence, I can tell you that he did not lack in any intensity in the few years that I've had with him in his delivery of such the promise of love. First, it was a sound, an expression of beauty. You're gorgeous. And then, if you're aware, it's an invitation to try and see it his way. His way was just like your way, but it was so much more faith and confidence in the way that love worked. The way that a scientist knows thermodynamics, or the way that a frog knows water. And when you're ready, comes the ultimatum, the demand. What you might sense from the gravity that his voice can bring is that it's either the silence or it's the truth. Those are the choices. I choose love and I choose the truth. The day that I learned that Rod had begun another part of the journey, I wrote something. It feels as true now as it did on the second. My friend died today. I almost never let people love me this much. And for the 5th or 6th time in my life, my capacity for love, acceptance, and peace increased. What's the deal with this guy? He gave me so few choices. I felt clumsy when he and his clarity and confidence entered the room. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Whew. Thank you for your deep listening. Thank you. As we've listened to the remembrances, followed by the powerful readings suggested by Howard, read by Rick, thank you. There's another aspect of love that Rod embodies that has been suggested. Philantia, self-love. Self-love. Yeah, to be who Rod was in life, he needed to value himself, not above all, but as one among. Philantia is love of self and others. It is loyal, long-lived, light-hearted, deep, and long-lasting. As we take into our hearts everything that we've heard and experienced in this agape, let us move to a ritual essential to Rod's ministry and lived priesthood. Communion. Communion took on a whole new meaning for me at a liturgy that Rod was celebrating. When we were done with communion, Rod took the plate with the leftover breadcrumbs. He walked out the front door and he flung the bread and remember, into the air for the birds, the squirrels, nature, for anyone else. And if you've been raised the Catholic I've been raised, you just did not ever let that bread touch the ground. That just didn't happen. Right? So it just showed again, this fearless love of his. So it's about love in all of its aspects, especially agape. Universal, unconditional, selfless for all of us, and filled with surprise and wonder. So what is this ritual we call communion? Union with, co-union, union with. It's about love. And so if you would, please join Russell, Alice, and all of us in gesture as we sing All You Need Is Love. I don't know how you hold the programs in gesture.
All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love, love, Love is all you need. Love is all you need. Love is all you need.
Yes, love. Communion is about remembering. Jesus asked us to remember him after he was no longer physically present in his followers' lives. And he asked us to remember a covenant that he and creative spirit made with all of creation, a covenant of everlasting love. Creative spirit, we remember Rod, and we remember every single one of us who has died and lives in our hearts with so much love. Together we sing and gesture.
All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. It's easy. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need.
Bread. Bread is the symbol. Oh, are we going to act out over here? You've been so good so far. Bread is the symbol. Yeah. Bread is the symbol that is so far-reaching. Yes? For today, it symbolizes our wholeness and our brokenness. Our hearts broken open, and our hearts made whole again through our love. So if you would, place one hand on your heart and lift the other toward our bread. Howard, if you would, momentito. Hand on heart, one hand toward bread.
Baruch atah Adonai hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Amen. All you need is love. All you need is love. All you need is love, love. Love is all you need. Love is all you need. Sorry. One more time. Need is love. Bum-ba-da-da-dum. All you need is love. Bum-ba-da-da-dum. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. 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 And now we will break and we will share bread with one another. Irish soda bread made especially for today. Shh. She can do it.
We got the flash. That's a flash drive.
It's not good. There's going to be plenty to take home. The other rule that you're allowed to break here is that you can talk during this communion. Just so you know. That's all. Thank you. That's the whole idea. That's the whole idea. All you need is love, love. Love is all you need. Love is all you need.
Oh, wow, it's raining. Oh, Heidi, come back.
There's a place for us, somewhere a place for us. Peace and quiet and open air wait for us somewhere.
There's a time for us, someday a time for us, time together with time to spare, time to learn, time to care, somehow
this time, I would like to invite the Immaculate Heart community members who are present to stand if you are able, and we will say our community prayer. And those of you on Zoom, please join us, probably with your mics off. We, the Immaculate Heart community, commend and release our beloved Rod. He was a person of great integrity and far-reaching service. He was generous of body, mind, and spirit. He continues to inspire us. Your covenant of love was revealed in Rod's life of kindness, compassion, and his unrelenting service to others. His wit and loving smile were grace to us all. Like Rod, may we, his Immaculate Heart community, be of grateful hearts, untarnished by fear. Amen. Thank you. Howard, I have in my hand Rod's pin, and you know how precious these pins are to us in our community. There's a story about this pin, and you may know it, but I'm going to share it with everybody because I want everybody else to know it too. Now I want to look at Howard.
You're right.
So in 2023, when Ray and I went to Spain to celebrate the 170th anniversary of the founding of the community in Spain, Howard found out that I didn't have a pin to wear. I had lost it and there wasn't enough time to get the pin. He insisted the day before we were leaving, and of course I was packing and it was crazy, but he insisted that I meet him halfway so that he could give me his pin so I could wear his pin during that celebration in Spain. And of course, it was important that I have that symbol of the community there with the founding order. In honor of Rod's deep love for you, Howard, and in recognition of your love of this community, your ongoing support of Rod and everything he did, and there was a lot of commitment there all the time. I'm giving this pin to you and making you an honorary member of the Immaculate Heart community.
Yeah!
I'm not done.
No, I was going to let you finish.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Woo! And the extra part about that is we only have a handful of honorary members, and Rod is the one who uplifted them and identified them. And I know in my heart that he would want you to have this pin, Howard. So may I put it on you? Thank you.
Thank you. I will wear it with honor and pride for the rest of my days.
If you wait for me, then I'll come for you. Although I've traveled far, I always hold a place for you in my heart. If you think of me, if you miss me once in a while, then I'll return to you. I'll return and fill that space in your heart. Remembering your touch, your kiss, your warm embrace, I'll find my way back to you if you'll be waiting. If you dream of me like I dream of you, in a place that's warm and dark, in a place where I can feel the beating of your heart. Remembering your touch, your kiss, your warm embrace, I'll find my way back to you if you'll be waiting. Oh, I've longed for you, and I have desired to see your face, your smile, to be with you wherever you are. Remembering your touch, your kiss, your warm embrace, I'll find my way back to you. Please say you'll be waiting. Together again, it would feel so good to be in your arms, where all my journeys end. You can make a promise, if it's one that you can keep. I vow to come for you if you wait for me. And say you'll hold a place for me in your heart, a place for me in your heart, a place for me in your heart.
Love in all of its manifestations, all of its meanings. Thank you. Thank you. The list is way too long, so just thank you for being here. If there's one desire that we share, I imagine it would be that Rod live on. And how? Keep telling our stories of him, yeah. And when we sing of love, we keep our promise to hold a place for Rod in our hearts. In that spirit, let's close this agape and go for cookies after singing Love One Another. Senor.
Love is both the song we sing and fears the way we die. You can make the mountains ring or make the angels cry. No, the dove is on the wing, and you need not know why. Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. Some will come and some will go, and we shall surely pass. When the one who left us here returns for us at last, we are but a moment's sunlight fading on the grass. Come on, people out, smile on your brother, everybody get together. Try to love another right now. If you heard the song I sing, you must understand. You hold the key to love and fear, all in your trembling hand. One key unlocks them both, and it's at your command. Come on, people out, smile on your brother, everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. People now, smile on your brother, everybody get together. Try to love one another right now.
Right now. Right now. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Wasn't that beautiful? So nice to be with everyone. Oh, hi, Jasmine. Nice to see you.
That was beautiful. I wasn't
Wasn't it?
sure being on Zoom how it would come through, but it really was
It was
wonderful.
really lovely. Yes, thank you so much. Really
Thank you
appreciate
so much.
Yes, God bless.
I feel like we were in that circle of love with everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Michael
really.
did a beautiful job, huh?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah. Very good. Okay.
Well, you all have a beautiful rest of the day.
Yes.
Catherine.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you
Mom.
very much. God
Bye.
bless.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.